Hello, everyone. I'm Sahara Loveland, author of the memoir, The Ordinary Black Woman, and you're tuned into Sahara Speaks. I want to talk about something I've noticed about people is that a lot of them mistake emotional restraint or blindness, ignorance. When people first meet me, I'm usually calm. I listen more than I speak. I observe. I let people finish their thoughts, their sentences. I don't show every negative emotion that I feel. And because I'm not giving them pushback, some people assume I'm not paying attention. They assume I'm easy to read. They assume I'm easy to fool. They assume that because I'm kind, because I'm engageful, because I'm pleasant to be around, I guess I must not have boundaries. But that's the entire point of observing. I'm not rushing to tell you what I notice because I want to see what you do when you believe nobody is checking you. I want to see how comfortable you become. I want to see whether what you said was one strange comment, a little misunderstanding, or a pattern in your entire character. So I listen. I pay attention to words, tones, reactions, inconsistencies, the way people talk to others, and the way they behave when they believe, keyword believe, they have the upper hand. I am engaging just enough for them to feel comfortable, but I am not so busy trying to prove myself that I miss what they're showing me. And some people will show you their entire hand when they believe you don't recognize the game that they're attempting to play. They say more, they test boundaries more, they become more disrespectful in little ways. They start slipping in comments to see what you tolerate. They may say something insulting and disguise it as a joke. They may ask personal questions, but some of them will avoid answering your personal questions you have for them. They may act as if they helping while quietly trying to gain power, leverage over you. And because you don't react right then and there, they think it's working, right? They believe it's working. And somebody like me, that's always their biggest mistake, especially in recent years. It's their biggest mistake. A lack of immediate reaction is not the same as a lack of awareness, and people need to understand that. Sometimes a person is not confronting you because they are still collecting data on you. Sometimes they're watching to see whether you correct yourself. Sometimes they're giving you the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes they're not trying to turn every little awkward moment into conflict or just confrontation. And sometimes they already know exactly what you're doing, but they want to see how far you're going to take it when you believe you are getting away with something. And I noticed this a lot now that I'm older. People reveal themselves very quickly if you pay attention and act accordingly. A lot of people behave when they know they are being watched. The real information comes about when they believe you are naive, impressed by them, or in my case, too kind to see through them. This is when people become careless. They stop hiding their entitlement. They stop hiding their need to control. They I'm sorry, you guys. They stop hiding just all that icky feeling that they have in themselves. And then when you finally respond to them with verbally or with your actions, you place a boundary, step back, or just, act different. They got the audacity to feel deceived, as if you told them you was foolish, as if you told them you didn't have no boundaries, as if you promised them you was not going to notice their whole play. But that's not my fault. You created an image of me based on what you perceived because of my character. And then you became angry when the image you created in your mind was wrong. That's not my fault. I didn't deceive you. You guys, it's just, that was on my mind. And that's the thing. People feel like you promised them that you're naive, you don't have boundaries, just because you're not showing conflict. It means I'm giving you the opportunity to prove that the first thing I saw was wrong. It means I'm not rushing you to label you based on one mistake. But if you continue showing me the same pattern, I don't care who it is, I'm going to believe what I see. And I believe what I see, y'all, everything is just making so much sense to me now. And once you see, you can no longer unsee. I remember I was watching this movie, Fallon. It's an old movie with Denzel Washington called Fallon. And I remember the demon, Azazel or devil or whatever that used to get in people's body. He told Denzel Washington, once you see, you can never unsee. And that is so true. Once you see these things in people, you can never unsee it. But the thing about it is, these people, they're used to people saying something immediately. They're used to people saying something immediately, just calling them out, confronting them. But when you don't announce what you see, they keep going. They become comfortable. They keep revealing more. And when they realize that you understood the entire time, they feel exposed and deceived as if you did them something. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. That is not my fault. But the thing is, no one owes anyone a warning if they're paying attention. I don't owe anyone a speech that I noticed something. And I don't have to reveal my entire thought process just because somebody wants the opportunity to manage how I see them. That's the point of being authentic. I'm free. I don't have to manage anything. What you see is what you get. Either you accept me for who I am and who or not. And I think I'm a pretty well-rounded person. So in my case, I don't feel the need to hide anything. Sometimes silence is not weakness. Sometimes silence is discipline. Sometimes silence and being pleasant and still engaging is high discernment. Sometimes silence is simply saying, let me see, watch this play out. And, just watch this play out before I make a decision. And I think people rely on confusion. People rely on confusion. And they hate that. They hate it when you're not confused. They need you to become emotional so they can focus on your reaction. So they can focus on your reaction instead of their behavior. They need you to over-explain. Mm-hmm. Everything is making sense to me now. But you know what I've noticed? When you stay calm, watch patterns, then quietly change access, there's nothing for them to argue with. The decision is made. This is when you start hearing, I thought you were nice. I am nice. Do you think nice to mean I would ignore disrespect, inconsistency? That's not what nice is. I feel like I'm a pretty nice person. And I'm not saying that because I'm saying that. I'm saying that because I get told I'm nice. People think I'm overly nice. Maybe in the past I used to be overly nice. I'm still nice, but my discernment is high. And my discernment override my niceness. And I still manage to be kind, be nice, and have discernment. And I think some people, they feel like because you're nice, they could take advantage of you. And there won't be consequences. But that's just not true. That's just not true. That's just not true. And I'm going to say this. No one is perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect at all. So assuming that there's not going to be no consequences with me would be your bad, not mine. So I don't know, you guys. That was on my spirit to say, there's a lot of people out here that is banking on you being blind just because you're pleasant, you're nice, or you feel like a breath of fresh air. The thing is, they wanted your kindness without your judgment. Okay? They wanted your pleasant feeling without your standards, without your boundaries. They wanted you to be emotionally intelligent enough to understand them. And that's just not how it works. And I always say, like, I'm proud of the fact that I do have high emotional intelligence. But guess what? Just because I have high emotional intelligence, that doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. That's not what that means. I'm sorry. It means I choose when to respond, how to respond, when and how. I don't have to call out things right then and there because, as I said, I do give people the benefit of the doubt. And the reason why I don't have a problem with that, especially now at this point in my life, I feel like I've mastered the ability to give people the benefit of the doubt without me allowing them to harm me, if that makes sense. When I was younger, when I was, just, I guess, more emotionally starved. And sometimes I still do have those days, but I can regulate myself pretty well most days, unless it's that time of the month, TMI, if you know what I mean. For the most part, I can emotionally regulate myself. So that gives me the opportunity to focus on what's in front of me. You see? But, guys, I don't know. I just wanted to say that. I'm Sahara Loveland, and you were tuned into Sahara Speaks. If you would like, you can purchase The Ordinary Black Woman memoir on Amazon, paperback and ebook available. Have a lovely day.